There's a feeling of everything happening all at once because it is, but it isn't. There's this feeling as if there's a house of cards and it could come crumbling down at any minute because it is, but it isn't. Could Kerry please choose what she's trying to say? We've got two timelines right now, you guys. We've got two streams of consciousness. And up until now, you've been surfing both, which means you've been trying to keep your balance. A little bit in this timeline, which is the ascending timeline, so a little bit in higher consciousness, and then just enough of you in that lower timeline so you can still relate to the friends, the loved ones, the people that are populating the lower timeline. So you've learned the balancing act of being in between the two worlds. But now what happens is as these timelines pull apart from each other, because that's exactly where we are, you can still feel both energies. You can still feel both realities, which is why you've got that looming feeling like, whoa, we're on the brink of disclosure. It's here. It's now. It's any day. We're going to get disclosure about the extraterrestrials that are walking among us that have populated planet Earth for so long. We're going to get disclosure about every political figure that you could think about and their involvement in something so massive that the brain boggles to even comprehend. You're going to get disclosure about the monetary system and just how corrupted, manipulated it actually is. And with that, there's going to be liberation, and the mind starts reeling as the realization hits that this is where we are. But that's where the higher timeline is. The timeline of density is walking around in confusion and saying nothing's happening because it's not. Nothing's happening in the lower timeline. Density is happening in the lower timeline. So now the confusion, do you see why you've got it now that one moment you're in bliss and one moment you're just falling apart? Do you see what's going on? You've been surfing two timelines, but unless you're doing the splits right now, you can't do it anymore. And even if you are able to do the splits, it's still too far apart. That's what's going on. And there's even another dynamic with these two timelines, which is each respective timeline, the lower and the higher, is moving into a bottleneck. This is interesting because what it means is for those in density, the bottleneck is almost asking, light is doing the same thing, almost asking each participant in that timeline, can you commit to this timeline now? So for people walking a path of density, this is a moment, this is a crossroads. The universe is asking them the question, are you certain? Are you sure? Is this for you? It's not a bad choice to make, but the choice is, look, if you keep walking and you commit to the path ahead of you and you walk through the bottleneck, which is going to refine your frequency into density, and it is going to cement your density into place. That's ultimately what that person is going to feel like, as if this is my nature now. This is who I am now. This isn't just something I'm experiencing. They're going to absorb that density into an identity. So for those walking that lower timeline, the crossroads is, are you certain you want to do this? And if they say yes, they're going to have a sense of relinquishing something, because they're relinquishing their chance or their opportunity to hop over into the higher timeline. So for a lot of people at crossroad points, it is that option that the universe is giving them, and it feels a little bit like an end of the line. The truth is, there will still be further choices. They're just going to get harder and harder each time. And by that, I mean, there still will be opportunities to jump from the lower to the higher timeline. It is just getting literally more difficult by the day. So the bottleneck is bringing people into density, into a deeper density, so that they can walk into a new world, which is a lower density world. And in that lower density world, I must just add, it will still be higher than the one we're in right now. What we're calling the lower density world is a 4D world. Just so you know, they're not walking into hell. We've walked through hell in order to be here, to bring ourselves here at this point where two timelines are going to diverge into two separate worlds. Not quite today, but coming up in Who knows, guys? It could be the next day, the next 10, the next 10 years. Honestly, there is no time limit on when we walk into the ascension point, but that is what the ascension point is. It's the final split of those two timelines into two separate worlds. Those walking into the lower density world are going to become masters of the ascension journey, because that's what happens when you repeat something and you understand something and you know it within you with such a level of mastery. That's what those guys are planning on doing. We're jumping the queue. We're going, look, I'm pretty much done with lower density. I'm ready to elevate into higher density. And so we're headed into the 5D trajectory. By the way, you're seeing the light changing on my video for a reason. So just bear with me. I'm going to show you the other side of the door in a moment, but I don't want to lose track of where I am with this bottlenecking. Higher timeline is going to do the same thing. It's asking you the question, are you certain? Are you sure? Is this what you want? You really want to devote yourself to an elevation of consciousness, to a 5D journey. I know what stops a lot of people. It's the fear of, what about my loved ones? Because we don't understand that love is infinite and eternal and it doesn't go away. And when we trust love more, then we'll trust the process of ascension more and trust that each soul gets to make its own choice, because it does. There are other videos, by the way, where I've really got into that at a much deeper level. I don't want to repeat the stuff I've already gone through. So the bottlenecking into the higher timeline is going to bring up a set of circumstances in your life wherein you're going to go, hey, in order for me to get beyond where I am and progress past the point that I'm in right now, I've got to let go of something. I've got to let go of illusion. I've got to let go of lack. I've got to let go of an old identity. I've got to let go of some level of ego, which is ultimately the illusory self. So we're letting go in order to progress forward. Notice something, though, that at both bottlenecks, whether it's the lower or the higher timeline, they are crystallizing you deeper into that reality. There is no going back. See that? There is no in-between place that you can permanently live in. There's a temporary in-between place, which I dealt with in the last video, and I'll link it for you so I don't have to repeat that. There is a temporary, weird limbo-like place between those two timelines, which is an important bridging moment that many light workers will devote themselves to. But again, this is very brief. Those two timelines, they're bringing you to another level of crystallization into the lower or the higher. But in the higher timeline, okay, now we're getting close to me showing you what's on the other side of that door. In the higher timeline, there is the Lemurian light codes. That's why the light is going funny on my face, because there is so much light outside the door. Literally, I'm in the beautiful island of Mauritius. I was here a couple of months ago, and I really felt called to be here. I really did. It was an absolute soul calling, and I arrived knowing I was going to be back soon. Didn't think it would be this soon, but here I am. The same calling spoke, and now I get why. Because on the other side of that refinement, the purification in our timeline, is the calling of Lemuria, the light codes of Lemuria, the galactic codes of Lemuria that are going to call us into higher and higher densities. So let me stand up with you, whoa, okay, and show you what's on the other side of the screen. Now, we've got so much light coming in. Oh gosh, you guys, I'm going to have to walk with you to the balcony. Here we go. Let's see if we can get it on camera. Can you believe the amount of light? There we go. I literally had to come outside, and this is where I am. This is the island of Mauritius. Beneath these oceans is a massive crystal. It's a massive Lemurian crystal, and that's a structure that we've embedded, or our ancestors embedded, consciousness into. And just as you look at that light over the ocean, you may already begin to feel the jingles and the tingles and that feeling coming online. Something in your DNA, look how bright it is. Something in your DNA gets activated when in the presence of, even through camera, when in the presence of this level of light. This is why I knew I had to come here, was to support us in bringing this next level of consciousness home, literally home into our bodies. That's what we're doing. We're bringing all of these light codes online. So as we do this, here he gets sorted again. As we do this, we realize that our ancestors left a level of support for us that is almost beyond comprehension, a level of support for us that would call us through the bottleneck of the timeline. Because this was always going to happen. We would feel the squashing, the squeezing, this constricting, the moment that we're in right now. And there would be a lot going on for us, just as there is right now. There'd be the looming potentiality of disclosure. There'd be the illusion that disclosure is going to save us, that in order for our truth to be true, other people need to know the truth, which is absolutely not how it works. There would be all of those illusions coming to the surface. We would need something that would help us to navigate beyond all of that confusion and illusion. Don't get me wrong, disclosure is beautiful. It's really where we're headed for. But we cannot be dependent on it and say, because finally I'm vindicated, because finally my family, my loved ones can see that I wasn't loony and it wasn't crazy talk. It was the truth that I knew it in my bones. Something in me was living this higher reality. As much as that level of disclosure is the truth for all of us, it's not the salvation for all of us. We are, each one of us, as we go through this bottleneck, is going to be asked, can you be the center of your own light right now? Can you be the center of your own world right now? Can you not give your power away and say, well, it's because of all of these external events that I'm going to be fine. You're going to be fine because you are fine, because you find yourself in the authenticity of now. The energies of the higher timeline are energies like allowing. They're energies like acceptance. They're energies like not controlling, not holding on. Trusting life, not trusting somebody else, because that's part of the programming of the false matrix. We needed to trust the right people. At no point did we realize we were the right people. And once the trust in self is established, then you can trust life and then you can trust others. There's a divine order that we are returning to in that higher timeline. Look at the codes that are calling us to pull us beyond where we've been, beyond the stuck point, beyond even the crossroads of that bottleneck, into the higher wisdom. And when you move in there, it's expansive. When you move in there, it's going to feel like, wow, I don't know why, but I feel like I've got choice again. I feel like suddenly I'm not so constricted, not so limited again, because that's exactly what it will be. So thank you so much for putting up with all of these interesting color light changes on today's video. But hopefully this has touched your heart in a way that reminds you, that's all this is, a reminder that you're not walking alone, that we are standing side by side with each other. If you want a deeper level of support, reach out to me in the Plasma Light Tribe. I speak to you every single week, and I'll take you through the activations, the light work, that which we are all yearning for, that pulls us through that bottleneck into that expansive crystalline truth of what we came here to be. You're in the process of remembering. That remembering was never meant to be as arduous, however, as it's been for so many of us. Now, I don't want to leave you with this concern. I don't want to leave you with this concern of, how do I know which timeline I'm on? What if I get stuck? You have to have a level of willful ignorance in order to move into that lower timeline right now. And do you know what I mean by willful ignorance? It's when you are aware, somewhere deep inside of you, that you're conning yourself. Where you're aware, somewhere deep inside of you, that you're lying to yourself, but you're going to keep doing it anyway. When you allow yourself to be in the unknown and to be in the expansiveness of the unknown, yes, you can feel unsettled and insecure, and well, that's what it feels like to not control reality. That's what it feels like to begin the process of allowing life to move through you, and for you to begin to dance with life and flow with the universe. There is literally a new world opening up to you. You're invited. Step in. The support is here for you. Remember that too. Share this video with somebody who you know needs these light codes, needs this reminder, needs these messages. Chat to you in the comments below. From my heart, feel it. Take a moment. From my heart, all the way into yours. So much love.